Well, I asked, where's the beef? Let's call this for what this is. Oh my God! They are so hopelessly woke. How dare you? That is the intellectual capital of the left today. Give me a break. You are now watching the Daily Roundup.
Hi everybody, Ezra Levant here. Hope you're doing well. My name is Ezra and I'm part of the Ezra Levant Show. There's a lot of Ezra-ing going on, but today I'm hosting the live stream, which is normally done by my friends David Menzies and Sheila Gunn-Reid. But I like to sit in the chair from time to time. You know what's fun about the live stream? You can talk about things that are breaking. You can talk about things that you don't want to do a whole show about. I do a show every night at 8 p.m. Eastern, as you may know. I would like you to tune in to my show tonight, because I'm going to talk about Bill C-11. That's the Online Streaming Act. It's basically the law that lets Trudeau's CRTC regulate the internet as if it was old-fashioned TV and radio, which is crazy. That passed last night. The Senate passed it. Of course they did. The Senate is in Trudeau's pocket. And it received what's called royal assent last night, which means the Governor General stamped okay on it. All that's left is for it to be proclaimed, which means it will actually take force and effect, but that's probably imminent. I'm going to do my show about that tonight. In fact, I think we'll get into that a little bit more today. I want to take you through some of the provisions, because I don't think most people even know what's in there, and I want to show you how bad it is. By the way, we've got a petition, and we are going to challenge it in court. If you go to stopthecensorship.ca, we have almost 50,000 names on our petition so far. So if you haven't signed yet, go to stopthecensorship.ca. Look at that, 49,818 signatures. That's a lot of signatures. In our entire history, I'd say we've probably had fewer than 10 petitions over 50,000. That's a lot of people taking the time to sign. I think that's a sign that this is a very important issue. And although it's called the Online Streaming Act, everyone likes online streaming. Well, no, that's the whole point, is the government does not like online streaming, because the government does not control online streaming in the manner that it controls regular TV and radio. Regular TV and radio stations live in constant fear of the CRTC, that's the TV regulator, because they can shut you down, turn you off, seize your license, not renew your license, punish you in a number of ways. The internet has been immune from that so far. This is the Internet Colonization Bill. I'll take you through that in a minute, but first there's something else going on today, and this is what I mean about the live stream being very fresh and current and instant. Right now, like literally right now, there is the former president of the Trudeau Foundation. I think her name is Pascale Fournier. And she is answering questions. I think she's under oath. And apparently, she was upset and alarmed and concerned and worried about these allegations of Chinese Communist Party money being laundered through the Trudeau Foundation. How odd it was that Alexandre Trudeau, Justin Trudeau's brother, accepted the check. How odd it was that the money was actually from the government, funneled through $1 billion. Lots of questions, and she dared to ask about them. Well, that didn't do well. Apparently, people came to her home and spent 6 hours scrubbing all her devices to make sure she didn't take any corporate secrets with her. I don't know who they is. Here, let's watch this clip and then come right back and we'll talk about who it was that did this raid on her house. Take a listen.
Thank you. I'm curious, they came to your house. Is that customary?
I don't know if it is custom, but what they mention is that because they were paying for my phone, my computer, and my internet, so they were at my house from 6 o'clock until 12 at night, 12:30, to make sure that they would leave with everything, any possible, access to computers, iPhones, and internet, and so on. They insisted on the fact that they wanted to read all of the text messages and that I was not allowed to touch any of the text messages. And so I did collaborate and obviously gave back everything that I had. So you will understand that I don't have access to almost nothing. I remember a lot from memory, but I had some individuals who sent back some emails so that I could testify today.
Isn't that incredible? So that's not just nobody. That is the boss of the Trudeau Foundation. But I don't think she was the boss back in 2016 when that dirty deal was done with the Chinese Communist Party. So she was poking around. That was an MP from Lethbridge, I believe, who was asking the questions. Rachel Thomas is her name, I believe. I don't know who the they was. It sounds like they are the board of directors. As you know, there's something really weird about the Trudeau Foundation. Its board of directors, 6 of them, if I'm not mistaken, are chosen by Justin Trudeau, and 3 of them, if I'm not mistaken. And this is so crazy, you're not even going to believe what I'm about to say. 3 of the directors are the heirs and successors to Pierre Trudeau Sr. As in, it follows the family bloodline. Like we're talking about like the 14th Earl of Papineau or something. That's exactly where it is there. In accordance with the, show that. This is from the truth. This is unbelievable. In accordance with the Canada Not-for-Profit Corporations Act, the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation is governed by 2 bodies, the Foundation's members and its board of directors. These diverse, dynamic, and deeply engaged governance teams volunteer, blah, blah, blah. Directors, scroll down a little bit. Directors manage or supervise the management of the activities and affairs of the foundation. They are elected by the members of the foundation. Okay, scroll down a little bit more. Okay, that's not, you know what? I think they changed their website. I think they've scrubbed their website. Because what used to be there, am I right, Olivia? We looked at this just the other day. 6 of them, I think there's a total of 30, quote, members, and the members elect the directors. Is that, scroll up a little bit, is that where it, scroll down a little bit, up a little bit, let me just look at the words, right there, next paragraph down. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so they didn't scrub it, I'm glad we caught that. So yes, let me read this. This is from their website. Members appoint directors to the board of directors, approve changes to the bylaws, and appoint the external auditor. The foundation's membership is limited to 30 members. 6 seats are reserved for members appointed by the Minister of Information, so that's Justin Trudeau's appointment. And another 3 seats, and I've never seen wording like this before ever anywhere, are reserved for liquidators of the succession of the late Right Honourable Pierre Elliott Trudeau. That's a very lawyerly way of saying it's in the Trudeau family forever. We don't do that in Canada. The only thing in Canada that is inherited that way is the Queen of Canada, Queen Elizabeth, now the King of Canada, King Charles. That is passed on from father to son, mother to daughter, whatever. There's no other power, no other public institution in Canada that passes down by inheritance. The running of this $150 million endowed foundation is a Trudeau family gift, a gift to the Trudeau family from taxpayers. Isn't that crazy? So I assume that the they who raided that woman's house for 6 hours, someone comes to my house, I say, come back with a warrant. I guess she's slightly less property rights oriented, being a Trudeauvian. Sounds like she let people into her house for 6 hours. Oh, the things I would say if someone tried to come into my house to search my stuff without a warrant, the things I would say. And if they tried to come in, I think there'd be some news coming out of that, unfortunately. But no, she was fine with it. I don't know who the they was. Were they the directors from Trudeau's team? Were they from the Trudeau, like his political team? Like Trudeau is basically appointing 9 people on this board. He's got 6 political appointees and the 3 family members, including his brother. Who is the they that was trying to scour and scrub all the digital proof of things? Was it Brenda Lucky's RCMP going in to do a cover-up? I don't know. Was it someone from the Chinese embassy trying to cover their tracks? We didn't quite catch it in that clip. Now, I put another clip in the Slack channel. I don't know if you saw it there. Like I said, it's super weird to have, like, if a mere citizen creates a great company and a lot of wealth and wants to do some succession planning, you can understand how a matriarch or patriarch would pass on their family to their children through their will, through some corporate planning or something. That's their own business. If you save money over the course of your lifetime, how you spend it is your own business. And by the way, it's not always smart to put your company in the hands of your children. You know, there's an old saying. Have you ever heard this saying, Olivia? From shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations. Have you ever heard that? What it means is the first generation was poor, worked extremely hard to build up the wealth, gave it to the second generation who enjoyed the fruits but frittered it all away, and by the time the third generation came around, they were poor again. That's what shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves in 3 generations means. And if it's your own money, you can give it to your kids, you can give it to strangers, you can give it to charity, you can do whatever you want with it. I get it, it's your own money. But the Trudeau Foundation is not private money. It's taxpayers' money that was put in this huge jackpot, this huge treasure chest. And who was guarding the treasure chest? Trudeau family members. What the actual hell? Including, and I'm sorry to use the language, but it's technically true, the bastard daughter that Trudeau had with some groupie named Deborah Coyne, Andrew Coyne's cousin. It's weird. Would you not say it's weird? I just quoted to you from the Trudeau Foundation website saying, yeah, we reserve seats for the heirs and successors to Pierre Trudeau. That is so gross. Here's what Pascal Fournier had to say about that. Take a listen.
Why was it not Maurice Rosenberg's signature? And why were the receipts signed with Mr. Rosenberg's personal signature? And that's why the donation policy is supposed to create transparency. I signed contracts, and so I was also creating the receipts with my signature. If not, so you're saying that a board member like Mr. Alexandre Trudeau does not have the authority to sign on behalf of the foundation. I tried to do some research to understand that, because Carolyn Lynn and I were trying to understand what had happened in the past, and I hadn't found any resolution from the bill that allowed Mr. Trudeau to sign the contracts. I didn't see that in the minutes from the board, but I wasn't there, so I can't say. Why was it not Maurice Rosenberg's?
So Maurice Rosenberg was a manager there. Obviously, you can tell by his last name that he was not family, but he's a guy who issued the cover-up. He did the internal investigation saying everything was fine. But even he wasn't dirty enough to do the deal. That was Justin Trudeau's brother, Alexandre Trudeau. And there you had Pascal Fournier saying, why was Alexandre Trudeau signing receipts? Why was he involved in technical business matters like that? This is such a dirty, corrupt organization. Let me just say who that young woman was, Pascal Fournier. She's been the CEO there for how long? Let me Google that. Pascal Fournier. I can't find it very quickly here, but I think that she has been the CEO there for at least 5 years. I can't find that quickly enough to tell you. You know, actually, she still has her website up on the Trudeau Foundation. You know, yeah, I think 5 years. 5 years she's been with the Trudeau Foundation. And before that, she worked for the Trudeau Foundation as long ago as 2003. Here, let me send you a link to that if you want to put it on the screen. I think you've got it there. Yeah, I think you've got it on the screen there. So Pascal Fournier, yeah, exactly right. So she was a scholar 20 years ago. 5 years ago. Yeah, read her. Let me read her bio. Since beginning her mandate as president and CEO of the foundation in July 2018, she's taken bold steps, blah, blah, blah. So 15 years she was associated with them, plus 5 years as the boss. She is a 20-year Trudeau Foundation woman. Almost since the first day. Because I think the Trudeau Foundation was created in 2001, 2002, around there. So she has been, and she's got a law degree, a master's in law. Like, you couldn't have she's a PhD from Harvard, Fulbright Fellow. Oh, scholar of the first cohort, 2003. Law clerk at the Supreme Court. Holy moly. This is Superwoman. Am I right? My PhD, law degree, clerk at the Supreme Court. Holy mackerel. I mean, I'm sure I disagree with her ideologically on every single thing. But you must acknowledge that this woman's credentials are impeccable, that her experiences are impeccable. She's obvious, like, to get a PhD and a law degree and be a clerk and be in the first cohort of the Trudeau Foundation. And obviously they liked her enough that when she was a little bit older, they made her the CEO. And for the past 5 years, she's been the CEO. And she said something's fishy. And so they went to her home. Look, I don't know. I don't know this woman. Obviously, I never heard of her until a couple of weeks ago. But I think she's got enormous credibility based on the institutions that have entrusted her with things. And you heard her there, mild-mannered, soft-spoken, not over-egging the pudding, as they say. She couldn't understand why things were not in order. And when she asked questions, the lifers there freaked out on her. I'm on Team Pascal Fournier. I know I'm not on her team ideologically when it comes to policy. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about government corruption. You can imagine how crestfallen she is. She's really given her adult life to this organization. Think about it. I mean, if she got her law degree in 1997, I think is what I read there. That's sort of the same, I think that's the same year I got my law degree. When did I get my law degree? I got it in 96. So I think she's 1 year younger than me, if we're measuring, I don't know how it is in Quebec. So I think she's 50. Maybe she's a little bit younger. She's in her late 40s or 50. I'm not sure if you go straight into law in Quebec. She has given almost her entire adult life to the Trudeau Foundation. Imagine how disillusioned she must be. And look at her dishing in Parliament. What a bunch of crooks. I think she joined the Trudeau Foundation thinking it was a great place to learn and study and do research and all that stuff. I don't think she joined it thinking this is a money laundering shell operation to take money from foreign dictatorships and grease the wheels in Trudeau's government. I think that's amazing and super gross. Just really, really crazy. Hey, I saw, I'm going to switch gears. I just wanted to show you that. That was going on right now. We're going to take a short ad break, and then when we come back, I want to show you a really friendly video that I just stumbled upon on Twitter today from Sault Ste. Marie of a couple of folks that I don't even know who had something to say about Rebel News. Don't go away. We're going to play a quick ad, and then we're going to come back, and I'll show you these two guys from the Soo. Take a look. The media said that Canadian truckers were Russian agents controlled by Vladimir Putin. Justin Trudeau called them extremists.
The small fringe minority.
We are here out of love for our families, our communities.
And the government put the country under martial law to stop them. But what's the real story?
If you can't see the future in clear outline right now, you're not paying attention. But the truckers in Canada can.
And I want you to know that I am not afraid.
For the first time, the woman at the heart of the trucker convoy speaks out.
Hold the line.
Tamara Leach, passionate organizer, loving mother and grandmother, proud Métis and proud Albertan, and defiant political prisoner jailed for daring to criticize the government. Tamara Leach. Her new book, Hold the Line, My Story from the Heart of the Freedom Convoy, is the inside scoop of what really happened. You've heard from the media and the convoy's critics. Now hear the truth from the woman who inspired the world and made Justin Trudeau blink. Visit theconvoybook.com to order your copy now. That book is doing great, by the way. It's been for sale for about a week and a half. Last I checked on Amazon.ca, it was the best-selling book of the entire week. So not just for a moment. In fact, I'm clicking on it right now. Yep. Can you go and then click that little blue? Yeah, that's exactly right. You clicked the right place. Look at that. It is the #1 selling book in the whole country, and as I pointed out the other day, this is of all books. Like the #2 book is a weight loss book. The #3 book is also another self-help book. #4, a pop book called Atomic Habits. Actually, books 2, 3, and 4 are all sort of self-help books, aren't they? Self-help is a huge genre. 5 is an autobiography of Matthew McConaughey. 6 is a pop psychology book by Gabor Mate. 7 is that loser on his global privacy tour, Prince Harry. Down with the monarchy. We want our privacy. So these are almost all American titles. It's hard for a Canadian author to beat American books because American books are so popular, so universal, and Canadians are so American-centric. The fact that Tamara Leach's book is still #1 is incredible, and I would encourage you. To get yours. I want to show you a video I stumbled across this morning. So I'm switching gears now. I don't know who these two guys are, but apparently they know me. Show the tweet just to put it in context. Just came out, show the tweet on the screen just for a second. I just say, it says, 2 Sioux citizens are elated Crown charges were dropped. Artist, musician Tim Coderre and businessman Steve Hunter faced a combination of $200,000 in fines. Oh my God, that would kill anyone. Tim reached out to Ezra Levant's Rebel News legal team for support that sealed the dismissal. You know, I don't know if it was Rebel News or if it was the Democracy Fund, because both are helping people. I'm not being cheeky when I say I don't know these fellows, but as you may know, between the two entities, we're representing more than 2,500 people. So forgive me if I don't know these guys. I literally could not memorize 2,500 names, let alone 2,500 stories. These seems like really good guys. And it sounds like they had a very important win. Like imagine if someone's coming at you for $200,000 in fines. I don't care who you are. That's gonna blow up your life. Listen to these two guys.
Oh, Rebel News was awesome. They were really awesome. Rebel did more for us in a short amount of time than the government has ever done for me in my entire life, pretty much. They liberated us from what we knew we had liberation in, namely the Bill of Rights, and they made short work of it. We felt confident despite that if we went to trial, but yeah, thumbs up to Rebel News.
So they helped you out, but not just you, but lots of Canadians, correct?
Well, I would also give a thumbs up to Rebel News during this entire
entire lockdown. I mean, it was Rebel News that I would give credit to my awakening, and it was Rebel News when I took the stand with regards to the mask and the death rates. It was definitely when Ezra was showing the Stats Canada on Rebel News. That was the trigger for me, where I went and started taking screenshots on a daily basis of the death rates of Canada. And so we were able to expose back in 2020 the lies, and it was Rebel News that was leading the charge back then. We can go on and on about Rebel News.
Oh, Rebel News.
Isn't that friendly? You know, those seem like really great guys. I want to know more of the story. And I'm not being flippant when I say I don't know those guys. I just, I feel like I know them because they seem like such good eggs. I just, I don't know their details. $200,000 fines has got to be some of the highest fines I've ever heard of. I heard of an $80,000 fine against a church in northern Alberta, but $200,000 is a whole new level. So much going on. We could talk about Bill C-11. I'm talking about that on my show tonight, so I might actually skip that and come back to it tonight at 8. There's the PSAC strike. I want to show some videos because I attended the trucker convoy in Ottawa for a few days, and then I was mainly back here in our world headquarters, but our team, I was very closely following the developments through our team. And I remember on our greatest day of deployment, there was one day, I don't know if you remember this, Efron, we had 17 different people in the field on one day. It was just incredible. We had so many reporters. That was our highest heights. In fact, I can't find that right now, but trust me, we did. So I followed it very closely. And I'm telling you that we never once saw any violence. We never once saw any threats of violence. None at all. From the truckers. Not in Ottawa, not in Coutts, Alberta, not in Windsor, not in Langley, BC, not on the road, not in Toronto where you had trucks driving around. There was never a single act of violence or threat of violence. In fact, it was the opposite. But I want to show you that in just a couple of days, the Public Sector Government Workers Union is not only threatening people, but they are doing all the things that they condemn the truckers for doing. And there is no public response, no government response, no media response, no riot police response, no CSIS response. Justin Trudeau doesn't have a word to say here. By the way, these videos are everywhere. I had a friend in Ottawa tell me that his wife's office was blockaded for 4 hours. She couldn't get into work by these PSAC people. Here, take a look at this video right here.
You hear that? They are taking the bridge. They are taking the bridge. Taking the bridge. Share this. CPAC has just announced they are taking this critical infrastructure. PSAC has just announced they are taking the bridge. They are taking the bridge. I quote, taking the bridge. I quote, we are taking the bridge. Ottawa police are facilitated.
We are keeping this march safe. We are keeping this march safe. But we will be heard. By this government. We deserve fair wages. We deserve
PSAC has taken the Portage Bridge. PSAC has taken the Portage Bridge.
All right, that was interesting. I don't think they quite blocked the bridge. although it looks like they're walking on the roads and I see no cars there. But there was another video, I think we showed it the other day, I think it was from City News, showing people stopping a car, kicking the car, threatening people in the car. I think that's actually more on point. Do you know what I'm talking about? City News was surprisingly bold in what they showed. There was some other coverage that was just atrocious. By the way, I'm not against peaceful protests. I'm not against noisy protests. And, you know, if you're going to block a bridge for a bit, that's very inconvenient. But I'm not saying it rises to the order of a national emergency. But Trudeau said that, didn't he? Yeah. These guys at City News, I wonder if they've been corrected to shut up about this. But take a look. This is their banner here is striking federal workers escalate. Take a look at the
north of
escalation.
Shepherd, one of 250 pickets set up at government offices across the country. And now on day 6, with no deal in sight, things are ramping up. Our cameras captured a clash between striking workers and a driver leaving the service center this morning.
We are asking people to sort of stand with us in solidarity for a moment, for 10 minutes. Previously, we were holding people for 5 minutes, but now we're doing 10 minutes. People have been pretty receptive, actually, so that's great. We haven't had too many issues.
Another tactic now coming into play, disrupt the economy. A media rep for the Public Service Alliance of Canada tells me as of today, striking workers are hampering access to some Canadian ports, including the Port of Montreal. Michelle Spencer with the union representing CRA workers here in Toronto tells me they have no choice but to apply more pressure.
At this point, we have to do what we have to do. We need the employer to take us seriously. We don't want to be here. We were forced here. Our teams have been bargaining for almost 2 years. We're always seem to be bargaining our contracts in arrears. You know, it'd be really nice to have a contract that's been negotiated and comes into place right after the other one expires, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Treasury Board employees are asking for a 13.5% wage increase over 3 years, while CRA workers are demanding a 22.5% pay hike. After a weekend of rhetoric between the two sides, by Sunday evening, the union did say that the strike was closer to a resolution with some progress on remote work and wages, but not enough to end the strike. The federal government maintains it is offering a fair and competitive deal.
A third party, an objective third party which has been working with both sides on the negotiations, judged that 9% over 3 years was a fair and appropriate landing zone. The federal government is there. That's what we are offering. I think that is fair and reasonable.
But until the two sides can come to an agreement, federal workers are ready for the long haul.
We've been through rain, hail, and sun today, so we've had almost every weather event you could think of, and it's not dampening their spirits.
For more information on the impacts of this strike, head to our website, citynews.ca. In North York, Shauna Hunt, City News.
We were only trapping them for 5 minutes. Now we're trapping them for 10, and we'll keep doing it until they finally capitulate. Did the truckers ever hold anyone falsely in prison for 5 minutes or 10 minutes? Did they ever kick vehicles of people just driving out of a building or stop a vehicle? And that was them. And since they, like a child with a tantrum, not getting what they want, they escalated it. Look at this story here about Canadian Forces base at Petawawa, 700 military members living on the base. They were locked down by these PSAC people? Imagine if the truckers did that. Take a look at this story. Heat to be restored at Garrison Petawawa during PSAC strike. Heat and hot water will return to Garrison Petawawa after roughly 700 military members living on the base and office staff were without heat for 3 days during the strike by public service workers. Public service workers at the central heating plant on the base have now been deemed essential. Can you imagine that? I just don't know when the plant will be operational. Garrison is currently working on that, an official said. Imagine shutting off the heat on a military base. Are they working for China also? Looks like it. And then Global News has a story about CFB Kingston. It's another military base. Let's show that CFB Kingston story from Global. Striking PSAC workers block off access to CFB Kingston amid stalemate, literally endangering, blocking, challenging, violating critical federal infrastructure. As federal government workers entered the second week of their strike to back demands for a new contract, things ratcheted up at the picket lines. 100 of Public Service Alliance of Canada members blocked gates to CFB Kingston and the Royal Military College during a stalemate at the bargaining table. We know that the employer is passing on messages up their chain of command, blah, blah, blah. Picketers formed lines at the two gates, halting vehicles that tried to enter. The only exceptions were soldiers who were heading to deployment and anything medically related. Oh, yeah, no problem. Where's Trudeau? Where's Trudeau? Well, we saw that Chrystia Freeland is literally negotiating with these people while they conduct violence. Trudeau's busy. He's partying in New York. I'd like to add it up. I think Trudeau has gone to New York at least 30 times since he's become Prime Minister, which is much more than he's gone to, say, a gross place like Calgary. Frankly, I'm glad he goes to New York rather than Calgary. If he goes to Calgary, he would dream up more carbon taxes. So he's down partying in New York City, the largest strike in Canadian history, a violent strike, false imprisonment, blockading military bases. They're negotiating as if nothing is out of the ordinary. And listen, Trudeau's got some partying to do. Is that clip any interesting of him? Yeah, let's take a look. Let's take a look at him. He looks like he's been drinking. Let's take a look.
Obviously, while I'm here, I continue to be kept apprised of other issues around the world and things going on back home, like the latest state of negotiations around the public service labor disruption.
The NDP and the Conservatives have criticized you for coming to New York while the strike continues at home. The union is also calling on you to get directly involved. So I'm wondering if when you do go back to Canada, do you intend to do anything to try to break this impasse?
I have been directly and intimately involved in the negotiations, in hearing about what discussions are going on. I have deep faith in collective bargaining as a process, and we know that our negotiators are putting forward serious offers and working constructively with laborers on this. This is an important part of how we make sure that workers are properly supported in this country, and we're going to continue to allow it to unfold, and I will continue to be engaged with it.
You know, I think Trudeau goes down to New York to blow off steam, so to speak. He loves going to New York, L.A. He went to Chicago to hang out with some Obama people. I just sent you a link. It's a short video. Justin Trudeau stands up and he wobbles, and that's okay. Anyone might momentarily lose their balance. I mean, he's a healthy, fit 50-year-old, 51-year-old. But anyone, the best of us, can stumble once in a while. I call this the triple wobble. The triple wobble. And you tell me, drunk or high? Take a look.
In those senses, position ourselves just in the center. Try to elevate the debate.
Thank you so much.
1, 2, 3. Now, when we go, big screen, small screen, the little screen of me, picture-in-picture, is on the right. Can we move my picture-in-picture to the left and replay the last 10 seconds of it again? I want people to see what I call the triple wobble. Is that possible to do? You know the picture-in-picture of me, it's just in the bottom right-hand side of the screen. I want people to see that triple, yeah, exactly. Perfect, thank you for doing that. I call this the triple wobble. Once, anyone could happen. Twice, okay, were you drinking? Third time, national embarrassment. Take a look at the triple wobble one more time. Justin Trudeau this was Obama's, I think, first chief of staff, actually. Let's take a look. Play it again, because we did the whole interaction, because I want to show all three wobbles. No problem. It's just, he's drunk. I'm sorry, he's drunk. Absolutely, he was drunk. This is a guy who spends tens of thousands of dollars per trip on wine and liquor in the flight. Of course he was drunk. That's what it goes down to. See, you can party in a foreign city in a way that you can't party in Canada when you're the Prime Minister, because if you're in Canada, people are going to see you. But if you're in New York, frankly, the Prime Minister of Canada is not that big a deal in New York City. There's many more important people, many better known people, and if you're staying at a fancy hotel, they're used to some discretion. I think Trudeau goes down there to blow off steam. But of course, he will talk about women's rights. It's his favorite thing to talk about, especially when he's trying to shift the subject. This video is incredible. He talks, I don't know if I believe this, but he says he's trying to feminize his boys so they're not such toxically male people. This is from Trudeau, who sexually assaulted Rose Knight, and then when asked about it, gave the ultimate fraternity bro answer, dude, she just experienced it differently. Why is she such a bitch? Take a look.
And a big part of these conversations have to be men. We have to do it. I was pleased when President Biden was standing up for women's rights in the Canadian Parliament. Guys, men have to have conversations with their boys. I have a 15-year-old son who spends too much time on the internet, and I know the kinds of things that are out there, the sneaky misogynism that sort of slips through in workout videos and bro videos. Having those conversations are way more difficult for me than having just the basic birds and the bees conversations. Anyone talk about birds and bees anymore in this era of too much information on the internet? But having those difficult conversations now about women's rights, about equality, about these things that are core to how boys are raised, this is something that men have to be better allies on and part of, and that is something that we will continue to be pushing in Canada and everywhere around the world.
Absolutely true. I mean, women...
See, he can still get applause in New York City when he says stuff like that. He would never get away with saying that, say, in Vancouver, the city that's home to Jody Wilson-Raybould, the first Indigenous female Justice Minister in Canadian history, who was fired by him because she wouldn't cover up his attempt to interfere with the prosecution of SNC-Lavalin, a corrupt company in Montreal. So no one in Vancouver would say, yeah, you're a feminist, you really treat women right. No one in Creston, BC would applaud because they know that he sexually assaulted Rose Knight. He just can get away with things in New York. He can't. I mean, who wouldn't prefer to be in New York? Great hotels, great restaurants, cool celebrities. There's no PSAC strikers down there. There's no questions about debt. He gets to retell his war stories about how he's turning out feminine young boys. By the way, I don't believe that he has those conversations with his teenage boys. It's 1:44 Eastern Time. I want to take a short break to play an ad by our friend Avi Amini. It's an ad for ads, I think. Here, let's watch it together. I've never seen this one before. Let's take a look.
I am doing something today that I have never tried before. Listen up. I'm looking for collaborators in a new and exciting initiative. As you most likely know, YouTube a long time ago demonetized Rebel News, and we are 100% viewer funded. Now, while our supporters are fantastic at helping us cover legal campaigns and special reporting missions, unfortunately, the reality is our day-to-day operational expenses often exceed our income stream. Which is crazy if you think about it, because my videos across all platforms attract hundreds of thousands of views and sometimes even millions. So I want to share that reach with the right partners. If you have a product or business and want to enter a win-win relationship with me, please go to rebelnews.com/ads and fill in the form to let me know. I won't be accepting anyone. I need to believe in your business or product so I can sell it proudly for you. And for successful applicants, I will guarantee a minimum view count, meaning even if your ad is published on the less popular reports, we'll keep promoting your business or product until it gets the agreed minimum eyeball. So again, if you have a cool company or product that either wants to take advantage of my reach or want to support my work through advertising in a way that you can write it off as a tax deduction or both, head over to rebelnews.com/ads and hopefully we can join forces soon.
Wouldn't that be fun? You know, we used to get a ton of ads. They were served up by YouTube automatically, and then they demonetized us. They didn't explain why. They didn't explain what rule we broke. They didn't explain what about our video broke. They just, listen, YouTube, they're basically a Democrat super PAC. It wouldn't surprise me if they were leaned on by the government of Canada. I say that because we see how much leaning on went on behind the scenes in Twitter now that Elon Musk has revealed all that. But I think that would be very cool to have advertisers. But we do have some supporters who are able to help us out, even though YouTube has completely demonetized us. Let me read some super chats. Here's Ableist SL, chipped in $5. At this rate, the BC father's daughter will reach 18 and he will be left suing for reparations and telling her to either deracialize or get disowned. Also, do minor related publication bans expire at 18? Okay, I'm not sure exactly what that's referring to. It sounds like that's about a story that Drea was doing. So I'm sorry that I think I'm late to the story there, but thanks for the super chat. And then an unbelievable super chat, $100 from JCMN84. I think you gave a couple days ago, so thank you for the second amazing gift. New BC Bill 36 has anti-discrimination measures section C to engage regulatory and processes to identify discriminatory practices, values, and attitudes, risk government fines for having the wrong values. I find this very dangerous. It reminds me when Justin Trudeau brought in his values test for giving summer jobs grants to summertime employers. Like, what does a values test have to do with summer jobs? Well, I think it's all part of the whole social credit mindset. If you're outside with the government on anything, they will take away rights and privileges from you, even limit your citizenship. That's what they do in China. And I think there is one more super chat. Let me scroll down here. Yeah, from Alberta Dawn, 5 smackers. We need the Elon Musk method of employee management. Anyone sitting at their desk Monday morning still has a job. Well, you know what? I've watched probably 50 different videos of strikers making their case, and most of them literally are striking because they want to not have to go back to the office. They like working in their pajamas. They like getting up at the crack of 9:59 for a 10 a.m. start. They like being able to, get a snack and maybe have a nap and tootle around without any nosy managers watching what they're up to. Listen, I get it. That's just not called work. That's called retirement. Or that's called having a hobby, or that's called working for yourself, but that is not called work. It's really a lot of chutzpah, isn't it? There's 2 more videos I want to show you. The first, I haven't seen this yet, but do you know Ben Bankus? He's a Toronto-based comedian, not a cartoonist. And he first came to our attention because he was having these outdoor comedy shows that were banned, literally banned, and he showed an entrepreneurial spirit, and he was having, and he did some videos for us, and now he's running for the mayor of Toronto. I don't think he's going to win, but I think he'll do better than most. Last I heard, there were 49 candidates. You know what the number is? How many candidates running for Toronto mayor? 50 and counting. That's as of 5 days ago. The number could actually be higher by now. 50! That's a lot. I guess that's what happens when John Tory finally imploded. There are some serious candidates there. The former police chief, our friend Anthony Fury, is running. Chris Sky, the anti-lockdownist, is running. And so is Ben Bankus. Without any further to do, let's watch his latest video. I have not seen this yet, so don't hang me if his jokes are awful. Take a look.
My name is Benjamin, and I have been a federal employee for 5 years. In that 5 years, I met my husband, who also is a federal employee, and neither of us are able to afford having the child that we adopted from Afghanistan. I need to be paid like $300 grand. As a federal employee, I deserve to work from home every single day. Going to an office is bad for the environment. Think that the government should pay for me to stay home and do as little work as possible. I want to feel like it's the pandemic forever. I don't think the government is making sure I'm safe at work. I mean, I was not given a mask when I was given this sign by a random person. I'm not just fighting for fair wages. I am fighting for not equality, equity. That's right. I want to give my job to a Native person. I shouldn't even be employed. That's why I'm protesting. I don't deserve a job as a white gay male. I never knew how hard it was to not do your job, but it's really hard. You have to walk in circles around the neighborhood. Somebody called me useless today. Useless! Do you think this is useless? Sir, that's a felony. I'm a protester. I'm protected under the Charter rights as long as I'm not protesting for the freedom of speech or, freedom of movement or, the banning of certain mandatory medical.
There you have it, Ben Bankus. Maybe a little too on the nose. But reality is much more absurd than fiction. It is true when he said it's more environmental work from home. I swear to God, as God is my witness, I have heard that argument from at least 3 PSAC spokesmen that, it's better for the environment if we don't have to go into the office. I swear to God, that's one of the things they're saying. I swear to God, that COVID thing, it's not safe to go back to work. I swear to God, as God is my witness, I have heard actual PSAC spokesmen saying that. And the whole equality or equity thing, that is actually my problem with that video we just saw is every word there could have been spoken with a straight face by a real PSAC member. Like, it wasn't absurd enough. I often say this about books that are ahead of their time, like Thank You for Smoking, which I read only decades after it came out. And it was supposed to be this absurd book about how anti-smoking became ridiculous and everything got out of hand. But by the time I read the book, I think it was published almost 20 years ago, by the time I read it, most of the absurdities had come true. So you're reading it and you're saying, yeah, instead of, whoa, that's crazy. I feel that about some futuristic works of art that come true, that are so spot on, that when they finally happen, you say, Ex Machina is a little bit like that. That movie is now 9 years old. I'd say Ex Machina is the favorite movie I've ever seen in my life. I've watched it probably more than any other movie. I've watched it like 4 times. It stars Alicia Vikander, who's perfect in this role because she's very catatonic in general, very flat personality-wise, perfect for a robot. That's a great movie. 9 years later, like in that movie, there's this scene near the beginning where the protagonist is talking on his phone, and you can see that he's sort of being scanned by his phone, his voice, his facial movements, and there's this story, this subplot, it's not even a subplot, it's just a bit of dialogue about how the cell phone companies were spying on your mouth, your face, your voice, and collecting big data on that. And that was radical to say that in a 2014 movie. But that's in the terms of services right now. If you look at the TikTok terms of service, They talk about gestures and eyes and what you're looking at. Those things are being tracked in your phones now. When that was said in a 2014 movie, it was shocking and dystopian. That is exactly what's going on right now. My point is Ben Bankus is too spot on. And it's not even fiction. It's 1:55. I want to show a store promo ad because I got to tell you, our merch, there's some really good stuff there. And I've started wearing Rebel merch more. I have the hoodie. I'm not really a hoodie guy, but it fits great, and I like to wear it. Here, let's take a look at our ad for the Rebel store. Take a look. Oh, sorry. Here we come.
If you want to look good and shine like me, you can do so at our store. Go to ribbonnewsstore.com. On this website, you have so much different style to wear, as this one, my favorite one, Justin Castro. With my code Alexa10, you will have 10% off on your next purchase. So don't hesitate, go now and look so good like me.
That's great. I have that Justin Trudeau shirt. I have given that as a gift to probably 5 people. They all love it. Let's go to the store just for a second, rebelnewsstore.com, and then click on New Designs. There's some good ones there. I identify as a conspiracy theorist. My pronouns are told you so. That's a funny one. And the ULEZ, Stop the Carnage. That's something from our UK team. I stand with Trump. You know what? I'm not sure how hot that is these days, but I know some Americans love that. I think Trump's going to win the Republican nomination. I don't know if he's going to win the general. I don't know. I wish he would talk more about issues and less about, personal vindication. I get it, but in 2016 he let everyone know he was fighting for them. I got to say, and I was the #1 Trump fan in Canada in 2016, no doubt about it. I wish he was talking more about other people and less about himself. We got some Alberta ones there. Don't Ottawa my Alberta. That's a good one. And then there's Trudeau with the word guilty there. Of course, that is absolutely legally true. He's been found guilty so many times, convicted that is, under the Conflict of Interest Act. Free speech is a must. That's a good one. Scroll down just a little bit for that. Give peace a chance. That's a good one. Oh, my favorite one is just to the right. He's the dumbest man in Canada. He's so stupid that you already know who it is. That's a really good one, isn't it? Warning, may start talking about politics. Yeah, Anyways, we got some good ones there. I really recommend, though, you know what? If you had to choose one, you got to go with the Justin Castro shirt. Did I tell you how that shirt works? Because people put it on the screen. I just want to tell you, if you're thinking about getting a shirt, let me tell you what it's like wearing that shirt. I have one. I've given it as a gift to a lot of people, and I've heard this from other people, not just from myself. You wear that shirt, and the first thing people see, I think it's on the main page or the home page, the first thing people see is Trudeau's face. So immediately, before they process it, like in the first half second, they say Trudeau, and they see and so they get angry at you. First of all, it catches their eye. Second of all, they get angry. But then maybe one full second later, they say, "Oh," and they get it. And so they've just gone through, in the course of 1.5 seconds, this total 180. Because they start out thinking you're some Trudeau hack who's actually got the chutzpah to wear a Trudeau shirt. So they're starting off revved up, angry, and ready to throw hands. And then they say, "Oh, right, funny, good one." It is... that you cannot wear that shirt if you want to be left alone, because that shirt, almost everyone will have something to say about that shirt, even if it's just nice shirt. That shirt, let's say you're going out for a walk. I live near a park. Sometimes I go for a walk in the park. So you're going to walk by someone, like I go for a walk on the path. You're going to meet someone new every 30 seconds, maybe. Depends on how busy your park is, every minute. 50% of people are going to say something or react in some way. Now, is that a fun afternoon for you? If not, then don't get the shirt. But especially, I'm going to say, and I live in Toronto, but even in Toronto, that shirt is beloved. Now, you're from an actual conservative part of the world, like most of Alberta, Saskatchewan, anywhere in the prairies, really, interior BC, northern Ontario, pretty much most of the Atlantic, outside of maybe Halifax itself. That shirt's a winner. Do you guys have that shirt? No? You know what? I mean, maybe it's not for shy people. That shirt is not for shy people. It's a great shirt. It's a great shirt. We also have some I got a buddy, I gave him a hat that just has a megaphone on it. Can you put the megaphone hat up for a second? There's different, like on the back, you know what, by the way, I don't know if I showed you, but the back of my cell phone, I've got just a very simple Rebel phone case. It's a little beat up. So I got the Rebel phone case. That's not super in your face, but you see that cap on the left there? Exactly. I gave that to a buddy, and he's always out and about. He was just saying to me yesterday that wearing that hat is like a bat signal. It's like a secret code or a secret handshake, because not a lot of people are going to know what that is, right? They'll just think that's a cool megaphone, but they won't. I forget what color he has. I think he's got the black and red one. That, most people will not know what that is, but if they know what that is, they will like it. You know what I mean? Like, you got to be an insider almost to know what that is. So my buddy's in Toronto. That's a good hat to wear in Toronto if you're looking to find like-minded people, but you don't want to call too much attention like the Justin Castro shirt. It's also a great hat, by the way, and I think that's really a simple, clean logo. They got some other ones going on. Fringe Minority, Truck Off Trudeau. That's a good one. You wear Truck Off Trudeau. Like, that's the kind of hat you wear if you're from Hong Kong. That's a good one. That's a good one. I think Efron's got that hat. I think I've seen him in that hat before. Yeah. You know what? I've started wearing Rebel merch more than I had before. I don't know why I didn't wear it all the time. You'd think I would wear it all the time. I mean, I do have a lot of shirts with things written on them. I like the Rebel phone case. You know, I recommend it. We got one last super chat. Sorry, I'm goofing around, but I want to hear your stories about wearing Rebel merch. I think they're great stories because they're fun ways to meet people out in the world. And I want to tell you, never prejudge who's going to be a rebel. People who are from new Canadians, for whom English is the second language, people who are completely, you might think, oh, there's no way. They're absolutely. So don't prejudge. You wear that hat, or for sure you wear that Castro shirt, you will make friends in the most unlikely places. I'm just telling you. And I'm not gonna go into all my stories because I don't think you'd even believe me. If I told you some of the stories of people who've introduced themselves to me as Rebel fans, I don't even think you would believe me. I love it when my family's with me because it makes me feel sort of fun if I get a warm reception from strangers and the kids see that. Rebel from Times, $5 from Times, just says, thank you, Ezra. You're very welcome. And I think we are... I think we are out of time, and I think we have covered everything. I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. I'm just reading my notes here to make sure I got all the super chats. All right, listen, great to talk with you guys. Thanks for letting me be here. I hope I wasn't too distracted by things. There's a lot going on. I'm trying to read things, search for things, check my notes here. To me, the news of the day so far has been a lifelong Trudeau Foundation scholar and then CEO was treated like a criminal by the actual corrupt people there. And how crestfallen she must be, I think, is a big story. That's incredible. I'm glad we touched on that today. The PSAC stuff is quite something as well. Tune in tonight. I'm going to go over the passage of C11. And listen, have a great weekend. Great to see you. And we'll be back here on Monday. Until next time, on behalf of us here at Rebel World Headquarters, to you at home, goodbye. And keep fighting for freedom.
Women are also, most importantly, victims of sexual violence. For gender equality, sexual and reproductive health and rights are essential. And I know that this is something, so much in the news right now, but I wonder how concerned you are about women's reproductive rights internationally. And I ask that here in the United States, where we are seeing access to abortion continue to roll back, including access to the abortion pill.
Well, first of all, the most recent Supreme Court judgment is, for me and for many of us, a reflection of, oh my God, when do we get to stop having to relitigate this every time? I mean, it's still, women are still having to fight up for, stand up for basic rights that should have been and have been recognized long ago, and that seeing that backsliding, and it's, yes, the United States is obviously big challenges, but it's true in every country. In Canada, we're continuing to yes, we're a pro-choice government. We are unequivocal about that. We've expanded access to abortion pills, which really matters for people in rural and remote areas. But even in Canada, an American president had to admonish half of our House of Commons in Parliament to stand up and applaud when we were talking about women's rights, because there's still a big debate around a woman's right to choose, around women's rights, around to us LGBTQI+ rights in Canada. There is no